Good morning.
Good morning, Francesca. So, this is our first podcast. Very exciting journey we've decided to embark on, and I'm really blessed that you've decided to work with me on this. It's going to be wonderful.
My pleasure.
So, our podcast is called The Art of Graceful Change, which we'll explain a little bit more in a while. Just to say, everything that we talk about on these podcasts, as much as we are representing our companies, it is our own views and our own opinions. And we are by no means giving any medical advice or telling anybody to take one particular journey throughout their wellness journey. So, what we want to do is open up the door to all healing modalities, including the medical side, and have open conversations between ourselves and other industry professionals. But everything that we speak about is an opinion, there's no fact, and we leave it open to you then to decide which journey you want to take. So, Francesca, I leave it open to you to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Heidi. First of all, it's such a pleasure that we're having the conversation. The two of us have been having little chats behind the scenes and on the phone now for quite some time. But let me quickly introduce myself. Francesca Canzano Franklin here. I'm the founder of Philosophia Botanica, ancient mantra training, and above all, I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner. And I have immense passion for everything that is natural, well-being, and above everything is treating from within. And this is where you and I guess, we found our strongest connection, trying to find ways on how to fit, because as we know, there is not one size fit everything. And like I said, just having the chat, opening up, and I think it's become such a huge thing internationally. It's beautiful to see that. Everyone's talking about it, but as you and I know, there's a lot of overwhelming information, and there's a lot of feeling of how do I go? What do I approach? Is holistic my way, or is it magical the way forward? And I guess this is why we decided to launch the podcast. Well
Yeah,
done, you starting the
thank you.
conversation.
Thank you so much as well. So for myself, Heidi Grimwood, I'm the Vice President of Atmosphere Wellness. So we have 9 spa and wellness facilities between the Maldives and India, and growing very fast. So we do a lot with wellness, and we have the concept of Wellness Your Way. So Wellness Your Way is deep set from something that takes me right back to the beginning of my journey in the wellness industry at 18, where I realized as a fitness trainer back then and as a nutritionist that there was just not one way for everybody to get in shape and feel better. And over the journey and the years, I've really tried to open up that conversation with people. So when I was blessed to join this company just over 4 years ago, they allowed me to embark on this journey of Wellness Your Way and introduce wellness at so many different entry levels for people so that it's available to everybody. Wellness should be accessible to everyone. And like you, like I'm 46 now, and 2 years ago, I didn't realize that I'd started perimenopause, but things started to change dramatically. And people said, stress, you've got a high stress job. This is the way it is. And then somebody who was going through menopause said, look, I think you just need to kind of accept the fact that things are happening. And then when I actually went and got blood tests, my estrogen was through the roof, which didn't make sense to me because my understanding of menopause was your estrogen drops. And this is when I embarked on the journey of understanding more about this extremely complicated process of menopause. But I think for you and me, I think the journey of what we're trying to do is, I don't want to, I'm not saying bad for anything that anyone's doing, but I don't want to go down this route, and I know you don't either, of like just talking about the drains of menopause or perimenopause. Like, I want to talk about it in a positive light. This is just another cycle of our lives. We've been through, and we'll talk about that because I'm fascinated about what you're explaining to me recently. But when I got that acceptance, when you said that, I was like, this is just another cycle. Like, why am I getting so stressed about it? I realized that I can cope with the night sweats. I can cope with this hip pain that I've had for the last 2 years. I can actually deal with all of that if I'm happier. And I actually feel now the exhaustion, I could definitely, I'd love to work on that. But other than that, if I could just be happier, to be honest, the other things I could cope with. So I really want to be able to, the art of graceful change is about that whole thing of just bringing us women back into happiness and moving forward, because we're not going to get rid of any of this stuff, right? We have to go through this cycle. We might be able to reduce the symptoms, but masking it is not going to help either, which a lot of people are doing. So yeah, I think that it's an exciting journey to kind of explore all these avenues, but I've had to come through, as you know, like we talk so much, about this whole process. And I think the biggest thing is that it's that self-acceptance.
It is indeed. But like you said, it's a journey, Heidi.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, depending culturally where you come from, in general, family, it was a taboo until not long ago. It was a matter of something is going on. I mean, do you remember your mother or your auntie going through, or your grandmother going through menopause? I don't. I had to ask my mother in recent years, how old were you when you went through menopause? She could barely remember. Did you have hot flashes? Were you severely affected? She had to pause and think, which made me believe, oh, maybe she didn't. Maybe I'm going to be one of the lucky ones. I'm not going to have this severe. Eventually, she got back to me not long ago and she said to me, actually, I had it really bad. And I'm like, why are you not talking to me? Because it was a taboo. This is
Yeah.
someone, my mother is 85 years old and I've just turned 50. And she has been nagging me recently by saying, so where are you at with your periods? But without saying too much.
Yeah.
And I respect culture, I respect the different generation, but this is brilliant. You and I sitting down, having a chat. And I know you're having a chat with your friends back in Ireland and England. I'm having the chat with Australians, South African, back home in Italy. It's opening up. Now, like you said, it's how we embrace it and how we understand it.
Yeah, and I think as well, like even just with aging in general, there's a lot of people, and look, I have no opinion about what people want to do if they, because as we've said before, like at the moment we say no, we're not going to do additional things to our face or our bodies, but goodness knows what may happen in a few years. So never say never. But at the moment, no, like I've no interest in that. I want to embrace that aging process in a positive way and not see it as, I don't want to freeze myself back in time either, because what I knew 10 years ago is nothing to what I know now. And I want to embrace that wisdom as well, so it's very important to.
For sure. For me, it's like, I've been reading so much, not just from a Chinese medicine point of view, but just from a Western point of view. I think I am lucky enough that I'm not experiencing as yet, or maybe I never will. Who knows? Our body is such a fantastic, complicated machine in a way. But I'm reading up about the hot flashes. What do they mean in Chinese medicine? What does it mean in Western medicine? How are people coping with it? And what is the process? For me, it's just as simple as that. Where do we go? What do we do? What is the first thing that you do? I've lived in the UK for a long time, even though I'm Italian 100%. And all my English friends are telling me, just go to the GP, have a chat, and then if needs me, they will prescribe you the HRT. When I talk to the Italian side, it's slightly different. You go to your GP, and there is a list of blood tests, to check where are you at, where is your thyroid, where are your hormones, so your estrogen, your progesterone.
Yeah, I can never say the word.
Progesterone and testosterone. It's very interesting to me, coming for even though holistic medical background. It's fascinating. I want to know where I'm at, but I don't think all this information are matching up right now.
No, and we were at the
This is
menopause. Sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to say we were in the menopause summit in Dubai a few weeks ago, and it was really interesting because they had so many different people on stage talking. It was amazing. But the one thing that I've really understood, which I didn't know, is that the medical industry actually are not anywhere where they need to be to support us through this journey, which I found very interesting considering how advanced medicine is. And they say that they can tell you, like that in Italy, they can tell you all your different levels. But if I understood from this talk I was listening to, they actually can't tell you at what stage you are if you're at, like, because perimenopause can last for up to 10 years, they say. These tests can't tell you at what stage you're at.
Yeah.
which is super interesting as well, because then you're really stumped. You were going in the dark, just, and then also, I hear a lot of people kind of say, right, if you're perimenopausal, you absolutely have to take magnesium. You absolutely have to take omegas. You absolutely have to do this, that, and the other. But what if I'm not deficient in those areas?
Exactly. That is
So I'm
so.
so blind to what's happening at the moment, other than trying to, like, I'm literally feeling through the dark. And I laughed the other day, because for somebody that took nothing my entire life, I wouldn't even take a headache tablet, and there's still no medicine on my bedside cabinet. But there is every supplement you can find, between Ayurveda and vitamins and energy boosting drinks and everything, protein shakes, everything is there. And I just looked at it and went, oh God, what has happened to you? Because I was like, dang, like I've really gone down this route of just trying everything, and nothing's really hitting the spot for me.
But I also think, in a very humble way, that this is the beginning of the journey. You try and understand your body. Again, the
Yeah,
fact of having this chat is so important, because I think back in the days, women were not talking to each other. So already
yeah,
we are opening up. The fact that you and I, for example, we feel very comfortable with, I'm so bloated, I can't put my leggings on. I I have a meeting and I've just drunk 1 liter of coffee because I need to feel awake. That brain fog that is affecting all of us. Is it because we're tired? Is it because we have careers that they will lead us traveling around the world and jet that and so on? Or is it because we're going through the change?
yeah,
This for me is, we seem to be putting everything on a side. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a businesswoman, I am into fitness, I do yoga, I'm healthy. Stop. For
yeah,
me now, it's like, and I know you're on the same level as me, what's happening with me? That's the most
yeah,
important thing. What I think it's overwhelming in whichever country you're dealing with is, what do you do now? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? And I'm
yeah,
very happy to go to the Western doctor, 100%. I'll be very happy to go and have all my blood tests, just because it's interesting. It's like you said, is it estrogen that I'm deficient in, or is it testosterone? What's going on?
yeah. So many questions. And here in the Maldives, menopause doesn't really exist.
We're at a level that we should be at. I think that we're evolving. That the chats that we're having, doctors are having it too. Doctors are getting more informed. It depends perhaps where you are located. I haven't started my
I,
journey here in Hong Kong yet.
yeah,
I've been doing a lot of reading. It doesn't seem as simple. It's extremely expensive to start with, or I'm trying to see, is there a natural route by Chinese medicine? But also, what about for people that don't have medical insurance? Where would they go? So just last night, actually, I was reading, like, you can go through the government. There's a waiting list, 6 months to 12 months and so on. So it's interesting to see how they do things slightly. I don't know
yeah,
whether they test for hormones or anything like this. But I can tell you, for example, back in Italy, they all get tested. Some of my friends are horrified that I haven't had the tests yet. And they're like, how do you go about?
yeah,
Like you, we're quite stubborn, we're active people. So for me, I put everything down to, oh, I'm tired. Now, though, the body's talking, and that's why, again, you and I, we are connecting even more with this. The
yeah,
bloatiness is not just bloatiness. When you wash your hair and you start losing all this hair, something is going on. This is
yeah,
not just a change in season.
yeah.
The dryness of the eyes, the skin. We've always lived in hot countries.
Have
Why?
you got dry eye? Like, have you, like, it's like there's needles going in my eyes.
Yeah, it
So then I
started.
decided I'm obviously got cataracts, or I've got glaucoma or something. Like, this is what goes through my head every time something I feel.
Like,
I'm just like, right, that's it. It's the end for me. Like, it's really,
well,
it's horrific.
I talk to a lot of friends internationally. You and I are blessed to have lived in so many countries. So we have friends coming from literally around the globe. And just the other day, with a friend of mine in Cape Town, we were talking about itchiness. She was asking me, do you suffer from itchiness? And I was like, that's an interesting question. Because I went for a walk and my little one was unwell for a week and being very active, to be at home for an entire week between hospital visits and blah, blah, blah. The first day that he went back to school, I was like, let me go for a walk. I'm not joking, Heidi. Within 10 minutes, my legs were itching so much. And I was like, oh, it must be the leggings. And then I was like, no, I've been wearing these leggings for a long time. Now, coming from a strong holistic background, naturally you start asking your questions. So straight away I was like, could this be one of the perimenopause symptoms?
Yeah, yeah.
Into me. So in a way, I think this is amazing because we are starting to analyze our own selves. On the other side, I think we should ease off a little bit because, this is what I think is overwhelming, where now we analyze everything. I've sneezed. What could that be? I have I have a headache. Oh my gosh. You brush your head and it's like, are they all going to start falling down? This is why I think the conversations are amazing, but we need to hear more.
Yeah.
We need to do our own research. We need to listen to both, the yin and yang of Eastern medicine or Western medicine or all sorts. You and I strongly believe in diet and nutrition.
Yeah, so much comes from that.
100%. But I also have friends recently that they've gone on the HRT in the UK, and they said to me, and I totally understand that, it's like, you're not experiencing that. So you're not in a position of telling me that I should not. And completely my heart off the head. And I said, 100%, And I actually apologized by saying I didn't mean being strong with my views, but my views were just like, before you go on the HRT, have you gone for a blood test and have you checked to see what's around you that you could do naturally?
Yeah.
No, I've gone to the GP that put me on the HRT. So for me, it was just that.
It's the thing, like the people that want to go down that route, and I have great friends like that. Actually, I didn't realize one of my good friends, I was talking to her the other day and said, hey, we're going to do a podcast and we're going to do a retreat next year. And she was like, oh, yeah, she said, I started menopause around about 18 months ago. I was like, and you never said anything? Because I'm the one that's opened up all the conversations with all my friends. No one's spoken about what they've been going through. And she said, yeah, and in the end, like, I just couldn't deal with the aches and pains and this, that, and the other anymore. Went to the doctor and I'm on HRT. By the next day, I woke up. I'm kidding you not, Heidi. There was no pain in my body. And my friend said, it's just placebo. And I said, does it matter if it's placebo or not? If it works for you, right? That's the most important thing, right? And that I think we've got to understand, that we have to, like you say, everybody has to go on that journey. And this is what I was talking on a conference the other day, and we were talking about wellness, future of wellness, and they talk about like this, the AI and all this digital wellness technology. And I was like, I have nothing, and I don't need a watch to tell me when to stand up, sit down, or how to breathe. I'm pretty much going to figure it out myself. And they were all laughing. They're like, oh my God, we're shamed. I said, don't be shamed. I said, you want to wear them, wear them. But what I'm saying is, for me personally, I don't want a digital device telling me how to feel. But what I would like women and men, but especially women going through this, because another time we'll start broaching onto the andropause as well, which is the male menopause, which is definitely a thing, by the way. I know women can be really mean and go, men can't keep taking everything away and have their own thing. Listen, men are going through it. I definitely see elements with my husband, God bless him, but in a different way. I can see there's a change. But I think what we've got to start doing is listening back to our bodies again and being, unlike our mothers who, and like you, Mum, I do remember my mother going through menopause, right? But she was just mean. And we had to accept it. She was just like, this is me, this is my life, and I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to be mean to everyone. And we were just like, okay. And I just went, oh God, help me. I hope I'm not like that when I go through it, And she did go on HRT. But she was always very much into the medical route. She'll take any medicine, she'll take a headache tablet before she gets a headache as a preventative, that kind of thing. But I think that for us, we're in a different space. My mum was slowing down at the age when she was going through menopause. Us kids were older, they worked to live. They worked to live, that was it, and for us, we have careers. We're traveling, we have a different level of lifestyle. So our expectations are way different. And we can't expect to feel the same as what they were feeling. But I think because of our lifestyles, we are not able, and not just our lifestyles, even all of my girlfriends that I've spoken to in all different countries, none of us are actually sitting with it and feeling. And I really would like, and this is what I want to bring into the retreat next year, is I want to bring some beautiful experts, including yourself, where we can actually understand how to just feel it and listen to our bodies. Because when we actually can start to listen to ourselves is when our body will really tell us what it needs. But we don't sit quiet enough. It's too noisy. Like everything's too noisy. We don't just sit and like you can't. I watch people at the dinner table. They don't sit at the dinner table and eat. They've got their smartphones in front of them. I'm on the boat moving from island to island. People have got digital devices. I've now changed my habits. I've got a book in my bag. You know, we've just not connecting enough. We're disconnected in a very digital way, which I think if we want to really navigate, regardless of what route, Ayurveda, TCM, medical, whatever, naturopath, we need to embrace the fact that we need to reconnect.
For sure, but see, digital wellness actually is a thing. I think we should embrace it in a different way. I think it's amazing that, thank you to Google and Instagram and YouTube, you can actually access some amazing talks and seminars and women sitting there just like you and I.
Yeah.
I've watched and learned so much over the past 2 years, something that perhaps you couldn't do a few years ago. However, I think, like you said, it's becoming an addiction. We are continuously wired up. We live in such a young society where it's all like go, go, go. And our body, whether we like it or not, you can have your Botox, you can have your fillers, you can take your IVs or super vitamins. But unfortunately, we do have an expiry date, as awful as it may sound. And, for people like you and I, it's about, yes, to aging gracefully, but, keeping healthy, keeping fit, with nutrition, with diet and everything. Like yourself, I'm not going to say no to HRT in the future. Who knows? It all depends on how our bodies will react. For me, it's more like understanding what's going on. At what stage am I? Do I need to do anything right now, or can I continue to ignore it? The brain fog. There are some days where I'm like, I'm not going to ignore it. I'm just, I'm going to do something about it. There are days instead that I'm like, all right, I'm not doing anything today. Last week I had to cancel meetings for an entire day because I was like, I can't sit in front of the computer. I almost like, and it's the end of the year, and you and I know too well, you're not letting yourself go now. You got to make it until half December. Yeah. But I also think that pausing, the stillness is so important for our body. In Chinese medicine, this is your yin phase when you're slowing down. However, because of our society, you know too well. So that's why I think everything's important around us. There are also people that medically cannot be on the HRT. And that's why the menopause retreat and these talks are ever so important, because there may be people, either because of cancer or, medical related conditions cannot take hormone replacement. Where do they go? Who do they talk to? What is my route? What does holistic mean? Because you and I are talking like we know what holistic means. We know what natural is. Not everyone knows what TCM is. Not everyone knows what Ayurveda is or homeopathy.
To explain a bit more, right? Because I'll talk about my Ayurvedic journey in a minute, because I'm obviously, my family's living in India at the moment, so I'm very closely connected with that. Yeah. So tell me a bit more about what we were discussing the other day about the 7-year cycle in TCM and everything, because I'm fascinated by this. I'm telling you, and thank you, because when you said that, other than the thing you said, we're Italian, Heidi. I'm Italian, Heidi, and as Italians have to eat carbohydrates. You have to eat carbohydrates. And I was like, oh my God, yes, I'm going to start eating carbohydrates again. It was the best thing you ever said. But when you said about this 7-year cycle, it actually gave me a bit of peace. And then and then also a bit of a reality check of like, oh my God, this is just a phase of my life. Grasp it and get through. Just like motherhood, when I was having Gracie as a new mom, that was a beautiful journey, and I embraced it. Why can I not embrace this in the same beautiful way? And I haven't been. So tell me, 7-year cycle, what does that mean?
Well, first of all, Chinese medicine is very complex. There are different branches to Chinese medicine. It's not just acupuncture. You have manual Chinese medicine in the form of Tuina, which is a massage form that uses, for example, acupressure, which is vitally important, just as beautiful as acupuncture. You have herbs, you have gua sha, you have moxa, you have nutrition as well, which is vitally important.
Yeah.
Now, with PCM, it is believed that you need to, create balance within yourself. So it's the yin and yang. There is no perfection, but basically by, allowing the chi means internal wellness. Let's call it this way. It's what you have inside, it has to come on the outside as well. So you follow a way of living that will lead to this balancing. I wake up in the morning when I take my little one, I'm based in Hong Kong, and I see all these elderly people at 6:30 or 7 a.m. doing a formal Tai Chi or Qigong.
I love it. Yeah.
And very often my son and I, we stop. He's 7 years old, interesting enough, and we just admire them. And some time ago, I was saying to him, I would love to record this and to share with people, to show, look, you don't have to go on a crazy Pilates or yoga retreat. You can by any means, we both love it. But, different type of movement, your wellness is still flowing within you. So coming back to Chinese medicine, it's a way of living, it's something that you need to approach. It's a philosophy. Now, the 7-year cycle is from birth to end. So, for example, like in our Western society, we talk about different type of development. For example, for little girls, when you hit your between 12 and 14 years old, it's your menstruation. And then eventually is your partum, postpartum, and then the menopause. Something that now, as we know, we're talking about. We know it. We embrace it too. We just don't, we're not vocal about it. We're not teaching our children since a young age, even with menstruation, what happens when you menstruate? I think now, as far as I know, in England, for example, there's sexual education, which I think is fantastic. My daughter, when we were living in London, she was age 7 or 8, and they were doing sexual education. It was interesting. It was a way of letting them know this is the female body, this is the male body. There are changes that they will come and so on. Where I come from in Italy, I haven't heard of that yet. Perhaps some schools do it, but it's not as open air. And it's a so you see, we look at something so far away from us, which is a different discipline or philosophy, and we're like, that's so fascinating, the 7-year cycle. And it sounds beautifully fascinating, but we have it in our cultures too. It's just we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're right, actually, because we do talk about you going to puberty, and we prepare our kids for puberty, and then friends or family will prepare you for motherhood. But then after that, it's like, good luck with everything else.
Yeah, it's like even when the baby comes out, good luck. There is no instruction manual, nowadays it's a lot easier. But, if you think about our mothers or our grandmothers, very often I'm like, how did they go about? How did they go through, they were giving birth at home. It was, nowadays we have doulas specialized in breathing and meditation and the colors, and you have the swimming pools. You name it. How were they doing it back in the days? The midwife or the witch, whatever, she was called. They were still going through it. But at the same time, a lot of them sadly were dying throughout giving birth. A lot of them died postpartum because of infections. With menopause, the same. I read not long ago, I can't remember if I was reading an article or if it was a forum or something, where they were saying, what were women doing back in the days with menopause? And it's true, they were suffering. They've been suffering all the way through until now. And I strongly believe in that. The fact that you have to keep everything in. Some of them, they didn't have perhaps access to the GP that maybe would give them antidepressants or HIT. What were they doing? A lot of them were dying younger. Like you said before, look at our parents or our grandparents, coming to 50. That's a change in a way. You start to slow down. You and I'm a little bit older than you, career is still going. We haven't
100 miles an hour.
Yeah. And look,
couldn't imagine it. Yeah. But for them, like they were like already talking about the grandkids and retirement, whereas I'm just like, I've got so many things to do. Like there's so many things to like experience and achieve. Very different. So I think there's a different expectation from that, which I think puts more pressure on our bodies as well, right?
Indeed, absolutely.
Yeah. But interesting you say about being in Hong Kong and about the Tai Chi. What are they doing? They're reconnecting with themselves. They're actually being quiet. I love Tai Chi because it is about, and I love a Qigong. Like I remember when they taught me about holding this ball of energy, and I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
holy crap, I can actually feel it. It was
yeah.
insane. But how amazing to bring yourself back into that beautiful energy because it's around us,
It
but we
is.
forget to
Also,
feel it.
yeah, it's also movement. That's movement as medicine. You know, even though
Yeah.
the movement are so slow, you still move in your limbs. And if you think about it, they are towards the seventh cycle of their life. So instead of go, 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 which is up to until your fourth and your fifth cycle, you know,
Which is what kind of age is the fourth and fifth cycle then?
it depends though. I mean, traditionally we're talking, I would be in the fifth cycle,
Okay.
moving towards a six eventually, but life expectation has changed so much. So
Yeah.
when Chinese medicine first came to place, or back in the days, 50 was considered old. Nowadays, you tell anyone that in your late 40s or mid 50s, you're old. Society has changed. Life expectation has changed. So we have to take it with a pinch of salt with certain things. But to see them, they must be pensioners, majority of them, just slowing down and using the yin, that movement that is still movement, but it's so slow. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, for me, it's not that I don't like Qigong and Tai Chi. It's too slow. I'm still too active. I am the hyperactive type. I'm the one, perhaps it's the coffee that I've been drinking all my life. And I shall be drinking until as who knows.
Yeah.
But I need different type of activities. For me, I have to walk. Excuse me. I have to hike. I no longer do my Ashtanga yoga because I'm realizing my body now needs to cool down. I don't have to be go, go, go even when I exercise. So it's slightly different. But
Yeah.
yeah, but coming back to the seven phases, the seven cycles, they are stunning, they're beautiful. We can look at our own children, we can look at ourselves, and we can see the change. But even in Western medicine, every 7 years we regenerate at a cellular level. So within ourselves, there's a continuous change. So this is something that we just need to embrace. And for example, with the menopause retreat, perimenopause, I would love to bring the beauty, acute beauty aspect and wellness of the seven cycles, rather than telling people you must do this, you must do that. It's more like an understanding, where are you at, if I may suggest, because of course it's just a suggestion. As you know, I work with a lot of face mapping and connecting the organs like a mirror. So for me, it's just a visual way of creating awareness about everything without, again, having to say, this is the way forward. Because what's right for me is not right for you, and vice versa.
Yeah. And it has to sit right with people as well. And I think a lot of people are doing it, including myself. Going on this journey, I've done a lot of things and changed a lot of things in my lifestyle for pure vanity reasons.
Of course.
And like you say, with these people in Hong Kong and they're doing the Tai Chi and Qigong, they're not doing that to get these killer bodies. They're doing it for longevity. And we forget that because we've still got this real social pressure of how we look. And, because some women I've met of recent months have gone, I actually never used to look like this. Like they have to like justify it. I was a lot smaller, but like I've just decided I'm just going to embrace it. And I'm like, why are you even justifying yourself to me? Just be you, do you, right? If you want to go up a couple of dress sizes and you're comfortable and happy with that, go with it. Like, stop trying to fit into this little box in society. I think I don't like that. I don't want people to feel like they have to justify where they're at in life. I envy. There's two women I've met recently that have both said to me, look, I couldn't stop it happening. It was
Yeah.
just so far. In the end, I said, you know what? I'm just going with it. And they're not horrifically overweight, but they are a little bit bigger. And I actually envy them because I'm like, oh God, their lives must be so much easier. I'm waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning going, right, off I go, sending Francesca voice messages while I'm out exercising. Like, this is what I'm doing. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, who has the better quality of life here at the
That is
moment?
very true. That is very true. See, for myself, for example, living in Hong Kong, I find people very active. My own husband is very extreme. I sometimes am jealous in a positive way of him waking up at 5:30 and he goes on these 20K runs, comes home, showers, goes to work. And again, from a TCM point of view, sometimes I'm like, be careful because you're depleting yourself. It's that inner
Yeah.
fire, the inner energy. And I think, for example, if I may say, you and I, been very much career, flying around the world, having a family, trying to keep the balance because it is, at the end of the day, you also take on a motherly figure. I see myself doing that with my teams, where sometimes actually they tell me off. They're like, slow down, have a day off, don't worry about ABC. But you can't. And then I look at people like Paul, my husband, and I'm like, gosh, I wish I had that energy. But at the end of the day, we do have that energy. We just use it in different ways because
Yeah.
we function in different ways. And that's why, again, the 7-year cycle, coming back to that, male and female, we are different.
Yes.
We're built in a different way. Our cycles are different. In fact, we have the menstruation period for phase of our life, let's call it this way, for a reason. I look at my own child, she's gone through puberty, still very young. The changes are beautiful in a way. I find that I'm very happy that I was able to go on social media and inform myself of a lot of things that, even though I studied them with anatomy, physiology, and pathology, they didn't make sense to me. It was just an anatomy book. I found some incredible women explaining certain things. I mean, my daughter at one stage was like, Mother, what are you talking about? It's a bit too cuckoo from one side.
Well,
I said to her, take what you need and forget what you don't think is suitable or so on. But when
yeah.
I think back when I can't remember what age it was, I think around 12 or 13, my family, I remember my dad gave me, at the time being, was like 50 euros. And then took me out for an ice cream. And my mom and my grandmother had me, welcome to your new phase of life. And here I was, not being a woman, still being a child, half an hour with 50 euros on one side and an ice cream like a little girl on the other side. And like, what does it mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, then mother explained, la di da di da, how it works and so on. But that was it.
Yeah.
My own child, I felt like, no, there is more to this. So when she's having the tempest, because it's hormonal driven, which again, we are experiencing in a different phase of our life. So I'm like, all right, I didn't have anyone to talk to when I hit puberty. Now I feel like there is so much information. I don't want to suffer in silence.
Yeah.
And the chats that you and I are having, oh my gosh, Heidi, you make me so happy. When I wake up in the morning and I know that you and I can have a banter on how do you feel and what are we going to do about it. I know you've gone down the Ayurvedic route, which is amazing, and I can't wait to hear more. I'm yet to go and see a TCM doctor in here, just because life has been so incredibly busy. But it's top of my list. I've been reading up so much. I'm a little bit envy from your approach in Ayurveda, because you will tell us in a second, you were able to explain and they were able to talk to you. My side of the world is quieter in the sense, we take the pulse, the tongue, Chinese medicine is complex, but there's so much conversation. And myself being Italian, of course, I would love to go, right, why do I feel this? Why do I have that? There will be none of that. So
Yeah, true. Yeah.
but I'm used to the Asian way.
Yeah.
So I will report back. Maybe we should
Do.
have more conversation and see, hey, what happened during your consultation and so on.
No, we really need to hear about that. It's going to be fascinating to see what the feedback is. And
Yeah.
especially because you're understanding it on a much deeper level. I'm really looking forward to hearing. Yeah.
Me too. I won't say much to them, even because they will look at me like, you do TCM? Like, yo, it's, different cultures. So
Yeah.
I will go with an open mind and I'll let them do whatever it is that they need to do.
I kind of did the same with the Ayurvedic doctor. I didn't tell her that I knew anything about it. I'm not going to tell her that I run spa and wellness facilities. I was like, I'm not even going to pretend to be anywhere near where she is on stuff. Yeah.
No, but it's also beautiful because you may be putting the pressure on. So I have friends that very often they're like, "Oh, you're so lucky because when you go on a retreat or when you go and see a specialist, you know exactly what to talk about." But actually, it's rather the opposite. You know, you would be ruining that treatment in a way. It's much better to just be yourself, and then post treatment, you can decide whether it was suitable or not, if anything.
Yeah, no, I don't tend to tell, even therapists, I don't tell them what my job is because it's way easier that way. Then I get a way better experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to find out if perhaps Ayurveda and TCM also have the 7 year cycle. I'm pretty sure that there are so many similarities. We just call them in different way, different
Yeah,
phases.
possibly. And I think maybe like we need to get an Ayurvedic doctor at some stage, maybe even mine or someone else that can explain it because I didn't want to take too much time. It's typical, aren't we? We're terrible in the industry. I don't want to take too much time in this lady's time because I could have sat with her for an hour asking her 30 million questions. But I got out of it what I needed to, the 2 consultations I had with her. But it was just so fascinating because, first of all, to have the relief of just tell someone, I just don't feel right.
Yeah.
And she looked at me, never meeting me before, doesn't know anything about me. Now she treats my husband, but she knows nothing about me. And she just looked at me and she said, "You have lack." And I went, "Oh, tell me about it." Like I was exhausted. I'd been in about 3 different countries that week. And she said, "I can see you immediately." And she did the pulse test. So in Ayurveda, they do the pulse test. I don't know how they are able to tell you the weakness and the strengths in the doshas. So you have 3 doshas. You have the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And then with the Pitta, you have 2 separate. So sanguine and bilious. I'm probably not even pronouncing that right. But anyway. So she was able to tell me that there was a weakness there. She said, regardless of what you're going through with your symptoms, which we'll talk about, I can just see you have lack. Your job is clearly very like active. There's a lot going on. I need to get you back into good balance. And I thought, oh, like it didn't even occur to me that I just needed something just to lift me up, you know? So I was working for the next 10 days. She said, "This is what I'm going to give you for the next 10 days. And have an Ayurvedic treatment, like have an Abhyanga massage, which is like a full body massage, a lot of oil, and then use this beautiful steam. Have some Shirodhara, which is like an oil pour on the third eye. Have some of these treatments when you have time, and come back to me in 10 days." So I started to take it. And of course, after day one, I was sure that I was going to feel a difference. And when it didn't, I was like, this is rubbish. But what I loved about the conversation I had with her was I got a bit teary because I just said, "I'm so tired. I'm so down. And I don't want to feel this way, you know?" And she said, "Okay, tell me like what's going on." So she gave me Ayurvedic medicine for what I was going through, not menopause, what I was experiencing. Because whether it's joint pain from perimenopause or whether it's joint pain from joint pain is joint pain, right? Doesn't matter how it's connected in, which is what I was understanding from what she was doing with me. But the biggest thing she said was when you arrived to me, I could just see that you were just exhausted and drained. My priority was getting you back into balance there first, but on the sidelines dealing with these other areas. So then I went off and I assumed because I told her I'd gained weight and she went, "Heidi, you haven't," like she said, "I can see your muscle tone even through your clothes. You are fit and you are healthy." I was like, "No, you don't understand. I have a pouch. Like, I can't be doing with this and I can't control it." I just wanted a magic solution, you know? So she said, "Take this, this, and this." So I went away accepting everything and then come back 10 days later and said, "I'm definitely feeling some benefit." And, you know, and I could definitely feel that something was happening, but obviously I wanted it as I do a lot faster. And then she said, "I'm going to give you," because I was away for a month at that stage, "I'll give you a month worth of medicine." So I said, "Okay, I've done my research and you've given me this, this, and this, but where's the weight loss thing here?" Like this. And she was like, "Okay, I'm going to repeat to you, you are not clinically obese. Why would I give you weight loss medicine?" I went, "I've got a pouch. I'm very uncomfortable." And she was like, "Right, I'm going to give you this medicine, but you are only having 1 bottle. That's it." And actually, when I read, I had to put my glasses on because I'm going blind. I read about a week later, she was getting me to take one a day. The prescription on the bottle is taking two, 3 times a day. So it was like a placebo thing that she was doing with me for sure, right? Just to make me feel better. I was like, oh my God, she's completely doing. But she said to me, your fitness is here. She said, your fitness is here. It's not here. And then she said to me, do you do breathing? Do you do pranayamas? And I said, I actually do, because I do yoga most days. And she said, yes, that's why your heart rate is very low. I can tell that you look after yourself in that way. Focus on your breathing. Focus on looking after this. This will all come together. And she said a few other things to me. And I think how I put it in perspective for me, Francesca, is I've been through all different phases of my life on a financial level. I've had money, I haven't had money, all of those type of things. And I think that what it really put it into perspective, I was in a very local clinic where she's seeing people with very low income that have come in to get Ayurvedic medicine. And there's this precious woman with a few extra pounds on her moaning about my little pouch in my belly. And she didn't say it in those exact words. In her way was very beautiful and it was such kind words. But I just sat there and went, oh, Heidi, you're a bit of a, and I won't say the word, but a hole. And I went, I need to put this back into perspective now because I'm focusing on things that are just so vain.
It is.
And I'd forgotten about the me, the.
But I also think that vanity is important. You know, for me, I mean, I'm a Libra and I'm Italian. For me and for you as well, we are in jobs, in careers where we get to travel a lot. We have to attend seminars, we have to talk, we have to lecture, we have to be interviews, be in magazines. It's really difficult. You know, there are days that I would just rather stay in bed and not put any makeup on, not having to go into my hair, my nails. You know, I really miss back in my 20s, I was living in Thailand barefoot. Those were the days. But we can't, you know, it's choices in life. And I think with majority of women, you will see that. It's the weight. You know, it's when it's medical, it's the hot flush, it's the fog in the head, the tinnitus. A lot of women suffer from some serious medical conditions. Hypertension, thyroid. Then there is the vanity side, but the vanity side is the one that you can see. It's the one that everyone can see. In the media society, you know, whether you like it or not, people are exposed to Instagram and TikTok and whatever you want to call it, and you cannot help yourself but comparing yourself. So every time I hear someone say, I didn't used to look like this, you know, I
hate that.
But at the same time, I'm like, I wonder if I do that too. You know, maybe sometimes you say things or maybe it's just in your head because we all feel that way, especially, you know, we've been very active. You know, I've always been swimming and doing yoga and everything. And then after the second baby, like majority of women will say, first baby, second baby, your body changes. And that's a new phase of your life. You know, that's when you're like, hold on, I'm going to get back into that pair of jeans. Then there is the woman that goes like, screw that, I don't care. And then stops looking after herself. That is the me time that we're talking of. It's not just vanity. It's when you let yourself go because you're saying, you have to be like this. I cannot be like that. So I'm going to let it go. I think we have to find the balance, the middle way that if your body's changing, you have to embrace it. But it doesn't mean that you've got to let yourself go 100%. Because I think...
and she said that to me. She said, this doesn't mean I'm saying to you, give up. But she was saying, you've got to appreciate what you like. This, you know, you're not overweight. Like, you've got a few extra pounds on you, but you are not unhealthy. And this is the thing. Her point was, I want you to get back into health. I want to see that color in your skin. She said, when you first came to me, you were white. You were so pale. There was so much lack in your body. To her, that's her priority. And that's what I love about working with these holistic practitioners is their priority is that it's getting you into good health, because without good health, you can't look after your vanity because you're not well, you know.
Sometimes you're overlooking at the vanity and making yourself really unwell. Look what's happening nowadays with what's the name of that tablet, the pill that everyone seems to be taking. the diabetic tablet.
No, do you know it's not a tablet? Do you know it's an injection?
Is it? Oh
I didn't
gosh.
realize this because, of course, I've done all the research thinking it's got to be an easy route for me, and then realize, like, Heidi, what are you? This is what annoys me. I'm going down these rabbit holes, looking into stuff, knowing full well that I've never gone down this route of any of these areas. But to that, I've just got to do something,
Yeah.
and then I'm going down. And yeah, Ozempic is the medicine. But with my NLP coach, because I'm doing NLP as well, I was talking to her about this, and she said, all right, she said, let's look at it on a different way. She said, go to your wardrobe and put clothes on and see what makes you feel fabulous. Put
Yeah.
all the stuff to one side. Don't ignore it. But if it doesn't make you feel good, why are you wearing it? And I
Yeah.
went, oh God, I feel a bit now. She's right. So I literally stood the other day in my room and I went through every single piece of clothing. I tried all the clothing on, and some things I went, yeah, no, I'm not feeling that. Gone, right? And then other things I was like, oh, I feel lovely in that. So now I'm just embracing the fact that maybe my style's going to change. Like I'm nearly going to be 50 soon. Like I'm not going to wear the same clothes in my 30s, my 20s. Why am I trying to stay back there, you know? And this is another thing with the retreat that I want to bring in is I want to show women, we want to bring an expert where women will be guided as to what clothes are going to make them feel fabulous. You know, even if there's a few extra pounds or whatever, it's not to say we're giving up on it, but the body shape is changing regardless,
Yeah.
even with the bust area and everything, you know, things are changing. What kind of bra is the best bra to wear that's going to make you feel still fabulous without necessarily having surgery? And this whole, what they called Spanx thing or something, this whole body shaper thing. Hey, listen, I've bought 5 of them at this stage from different brands. Nothing's working for me, by the way. I don't know when I see on these YouTube videos and everything, and they kind of go from this to this by when I'm like, yeah, that didn't happen to me. Like, I'm not quite sure why this is. But then I'm just kind of saying, just wear clothes that I'm going to feel more confident in.
Definitely. But I think you said it right. You know, we cannot keep on wearing the clothes that we were wearing in our 20s
No.
and 30s. You know, my wardrobe is full of things that I know I can't fit in anymore, but I'm not going to let it go because that's, you know, wow, I look so fabulous wearing those leggings, those jeans, and so
Mm.
on. But like you said, you know, you just have to, what fits me, what makes me feel great.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, you know, you can always, I hope this is not too noisy, you can always tell yourself, maybe give yourself a goal for the next month. I will be eating super healthy. I will be exercising. I will change my mindset, see whether my weight shifts. But that's healthy weight shifting, as you know, coming from a
Yeah.
fitness background. Because it's true, we do go through periods of that's it. I'm going to be in front of Netflix. I'm going to ignore this. I'm going to ignore that. But we're injuring ourselves. You know, it's
Yeah.
our things. It's not whatever people think of us. But in a way, some clothes can be on a side, like in between. Like
Yeah.
perhaps I can get back into them, or perhaps I may not. For me, it's a matter of always looking at Kate Moss. We are exactly the same age. And I always said,
Okay.
the she drops, the mini skirts and the short denim, I will too. So every time I look at her, she's fabulous, you know, no matter what. And I'm like, I don't care what people say to me. I will still wear my short, whatever it is,
Yeah.
because she can, we all can. So you see,
Yeah.
age is a number, but
Yeah.
it's cool.
It is, and it's an interesting journey. And I think for the next podcast, obviously we have it lined up. I think let's go deep into nutrition. Let's look at all the different modalities of nutrition. Like I can definitely give some insights as to how they tell you in Ayurveda to eat, and then obviously with TCM and just general nutrition because I've had that as well. Then definitely we need to do a podcast on exercising as well. You know, all these clips I keep seeing on social media, get rid of cardio. And then I hear, oh, you need to start deadlifting weights and everything. What about the people? And I loved it in this menopause retreat. This one woman put her hand up and she said, what about for the people that don't have budgets for that? And Wellness Your Way is about looking at wellness for everybody. Like I have beautiful gyms in all the resorts that I'm working in, right? I work out in my room. I have a yoga mat.
Yeah.
I do my walk. I love my walking. I do all my toning exercises because I said to the gym trainers, I do not always have the time or the facilities to use the gym because I'm traveling so much and the time zone can be different. Show me what exercises I can do using my own body weight. And I just have one resistance band, which easily fits in my suitcase. And then obviously a yoga mat is easy. And that's what I do in my room. So all my workouts, all my body weight, sorry, all my toning comes from body weight exercises. And then I do my yoga and I do some nice Pilates as well. Often depends on the mood. But what I want to look at is we have to look in exercise of not just now you get to 50, now you have to go to the gym and start deadlifting. First of all, there's a factor of, do women have time? Do they even want to go to a gym? I know when the gym trainer said, Madam, you need to start getting in and doing weights. And I went, it's not going to happen. So you're going to need to give me a different solution. Because I've worked in gyms from a young age. I don't like going into gyms anymore. It's not my space because I've worked there. Do you know, it's just not my space. So find me another solution. And they did. So we have to stop dictating that women now need to go and be deadlifters or they have to, and there's no more cardio, don't do cardio. What are you talking about? So we're not going to keep our hearts healthy? And you're telling me that cardio is not going to have some impact on the calories that our body's burning? It's impossible.
But I think, again, it depends on individual backgrounds. If you have someone that hasn't been very active majority of their life, they have never exercised, be Pilates, walking, yoga, gym, and so on, you can't not start them with something that is too much, too excessive. They have to start somewhere. For me, it's about building it up, be it muscle or anything really. So perhaps in one of the podcasts, it should be yourself and you could have different professionals. You could have a yoga teachers or a Pilates teacher, someone though that has been either through the journey themselves or they are in the middle of it, or someone that kind of specializes with this. It'd be interesting, and perhaps people could start asking questions and so on. Because again, it's so overwhelming. We can go from more the medical route. Again, we can go the holistic route, but then it comes down to, how do I exercise? I mean, nowadays I see everywhere on my social media feeds is wall Pilates or chair Pilates. And it's like, perhaps it works, perhaps not, but it's a continuous bombardment of information.
Yeah.
And what do you do? The same with nutrition. I mean, that could take days and days. But again, if yourself and an expert on nutrition, and then we can perhaps tap into TCM and Mediterranean diet, Ayurvedic diet, and so on, it becomes interesting.
Yeah.
Again.
And also I've just received the kits actually, and I will be giving you an update on it. So I've got the DNA and the epigenetics testing through the saliva. So we've just received them. So me and my husband are going to do them. And in a month's time, we'll have the results on that. That's going to be a really interesting journey. And actually, because I was doing another type of testing back last year, and it was like $1,000, so it's not in everybody's budget. This particular DNA testing is very affordable. It's like $140. So it's not crazy money. And if you really want to understand everything that's going on in the body, and we'll do a podcast so I can explain all the different modalities because it's so fascinating once we get the results, then it's definitely a route that people can go down just for general health, not just for perimenopause or something, So I think we've got so many things to talk about. Thank God there's podcasts. So what we'll do is let's round it up today. Any last thoughts on this first podcast, which I'm so proud to have started, The Art of Graceful Change?
Amazing. Well done you for initiating this and planting the seed. For me, it's for whoever will be listening, where are we going next? So today we talked, like you said, general ideas, where are we at, how do we start, and so on. Perhaps, like you said, for next time, we should nail it down to individual therapies. Whichever you want to start with.
Absolutely. Let's start with TCM. Because that's your area of expertise. Let's start with that. But I think for people that are listening, what do they want to learn about? What do they want to know more about? Where is the confusion? And then let's open it up to industry professionals to come in and give their knowledge on that area.
Yep.
so that people, like we said at the very beginning, can make informed decisions and take wellness on their own journey. I'm going to be using different healing modalities, not just Ayurveda. I'm going down multiple different routes. For me, my priority is longevity, not longevity of life. I just want a quality of life for however long I'm going to be here. So for me, my priority is that, but I think the biggest thing is the happiness needs to come back. We need to be happy again. We need to be, we need to have that positive energy. And whenever I bring up the word menopause to people, they go, oh, like this, because there's so much negativity around it. What I want to do is I want to put a positive spin and say, let's just open up all the positive conversations. Now you guys can make informed decisions for yourself. And let's talk about how we're able to bring ourselves back into a really good space. And I think that's a really important starting point for us all as women and men. But I also think for our husbands and our partners is really going to help as well. I mean, we have very understanding husbands, not everybody does, but still it's a journey. I mean, my husband's named all of my personalities at the moment, so but we can laugh about it, whereas some women can't. But it's a journey that we need to embrace, and we need to laugh about it. We really do.
Sure. Now, with regards to the upcoming retreat, shall we just let people know what it is that we're talking of? Because we've mentioned it, but we haven't really said where is it happening, when is it happening. So where is
the
it
details? So it's happening in the Maldives,
yeah,
in our beautiful Oblu experience, Isla Fushi.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a facility where people can even bring their families with them, so they can women can embark on their wellness retreat with us, which is 4 days, and they can bring their families, so you can still enjoy family time as well. You don't have to be completely separated, or come with your girlfriends, and have a beautiful 4 days away. So the 4 days will be in the Maldives, Oblu Experience Isla Fushi. It is called the Art of Graceful Change for perfect reason, wellness your way. We're going to be bringing different experts, including yourself and myself. So NLP is going to be a focus on my side. TCM is on your side. And then we'll have other specialists coming in to really open up the conversations. We're going to have fun. We're going to have a lot of beautiful wellness activities. We're going to have a lot of knowledge to impart. There's going to be like beautiful bonfire meditation sessions. And I mean, gosh, we're in the most beautiful place in the world. So we're going to have a lot of outdoor beautiful experiences. If that doesn't lift your heart up, nothing's going to. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, the biggest thing is when they leave, there should be massive smiles on everybody's faces going, yes, we'll see you at the next one. That's what we're looking forward to.
Lovely. I'm very much looking forward to it.
That'd be amazing.
It
will be June next year. We just need to set the exact dates, which we will put in the next podcast. But yeah, June next year, Maldives, 4 days. It's going to be amazing.
And if people need to find out more details, can they just go on the Elena Spa website, or is there a newsletter they can subscribe to?
Yeah, so we have, if they can sign up on the Elena website, which we'll put in the link in here, but there will be a landing page where it will have the information on it, but we can collect information, and as we update with who's joining us and what's happening, then we can send out all that information as well.
Beautiful. Looking forward.
Yeah.
Really, it's been lovely to chat to you about everything about us women without tagging and without any labels, more than anything.
No labels, just embracing our fabulousness.
Exactly. And I'm very much looking forward to the next chat and to even in the future meet other professionals.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Francesca, thank you so much. You're amazing.
So are you.
Catch you soon.
Have a beautiful day. Bye, Heidi.
And you. Bye-bye.